This is normally not the type of game I talk about on this channel, but I want to take a moment to talk about Helldivers 2. And before we get into it, you need to know from the beginning, this video is not sponsored in any way. I paid for my full video game copy of this. In fact, I might buy it on the PlayStation 5 as well as the PC so I can play it on my TV. They've not reached out to me or asked me to make a video in any way. And the reason I want to say that in the beginning is because I love this game a lot. As soon as you're into the game, you complete a tutorial and then it gives you your entire ship. The ship is effectively their way of doing the main menu. You can go into things like the armory and break down your assault rifle, shotgun, change your secondary weapons, what have you. I just unlocked this pistol, so I'm actually going to equip it, and it gets more and more and more complex as you begin to unlock things. The coolest thing and the most recent thing I just found out is not only can you upgrade your character, but you can actually upgrade your ship, which is going to change everything from the weapons that you can call down as support weapons to literally the orbital strike styles that will attack. You can even, if you scroll down here, have a robotics workshop that allows you to deploy from your main ship, the one we're standing on now, turrets from the sky, etc., which will land and help you fight bugs. I do say bugs because if you are familiar at all with Starship Troopers, Rico's Roughnecks, those types of things, it is basically this. You are Space Marines against a whole bunch of bugs, and that's where the fun gets in there. In order to get into these battles against the bugs or the basically like robot Soviets, for instance, this game has a very big theme of, you know, liberating areas and democracy and all those types of memes. They literally call it Super Earth. Now, if you look at this here, the right side, sort of this yellow, this is the you fighting against the bug style, and you'll notice it's broke down into sectors. You can see how much of it has been liberated. Again, they go very heavy on this meme style, and the liberation is basically how much of that map has been pushed back from the bugs as the maps get more and more cleared by the players, not just you. So it's not just you liberating, it's everyone who's playing the game is working together. In fact, I could join and drop in on people who are currently fighting as well. They can deploy a beacon in the game which calls in people to come down and help them. I could be one of those people. I could deploy from my drop pod here in my ship and just immediately go help them. Let's give you an example of that right now. This guy here is asking for assistance in a fight against some bugs. So if I go in here and click on his battle, it says receiving data, and then it's going to prepare and load here for a moment. So now it has connected to him. My ship warps into where he is, and you can see my drop pod is enabled. Oh, it looks like a little bit of a visual bug here. And you can see the players on the bottom left. I am covering it, but you can see here's all the other players on the bottom left. And now we are all about to start this mission together. At this point, we go to the drop pods, we hop in the drop pods together, and we prepare to leave. At this point, you're basically setting up your loadout for the mission, and I am waiting for everyone else here to hop into the pods as well. Now the leader is deciding where we're going to drop. What's really cool is there are areas in which there'll be tons of the minions. Maybe you have a boss fight is what you're supposed to do with these, but you get to choose to drop literally anywhere. You can directly drop straight up on top of where you're supposed to go. So it makes sense. It's like you're in a ship. Why wouldn't you just hot drop right to where you're supposed to be? You're not dropping a mile away then having to walk there. You can get right into the action. In fact, I've dropped right in the middle of a bunch of bugs and immediately got killed because I had a terrible tactical decision from the beginning. So now we're just waiting for him to select and launch it. Now we're going to select our setup. For me, I have lots of orbital strikes. I think those are super cool. I've got gas grenades that shoot from the ship. I've got actually a deployable like Harrier that comes out in napalm bombs. I've got orbital strikes. We all ready up. And now we are going to drop into the game. And I think all of this whole setup portion of it is the most annoying part in other games where you're like, I'm in a lobby, now I'm waiting, now I'm having to select. But it's so well done, and it doesn't like break your immersion of it at all. It's you go straight from I'm in my ship to I'm selecting where I want to go to I'm getting in the drop pod, I'm selecting all of my weapons, etc. You drop right in, and then you can actually sort of maneuver around the drop pod as you're going in. Maybe I want to drop on top of the mountain. So I try to maneuver right where I'm going to drop in, and now I'm on top of the mountain, which is maybe a little bit safer. And you can see he dropped right in on the bugs, and then we get going. You got different weapons. I got my shotgun I selected. I have that pistol that, if you remember, I selected from the beginning. And you can see I took fall damage. In fact, I could have broken my leg. Or if I get shot by friendly fire, which there is friendly fire, if you get shot by it, then you can like break your leg, break your arm, etc. And your character will actually limp, or your aim will be off. In fact, speaking of your aim, if you'll notice, there is a circle, and then there's the actual reticle. Oh, no, I'm getting... Oh, okay. And the game is not easy, let me tell you, all right? It's not easy at all. So The circle is actually where you're aiming with your movement, etc. The reticle is sort of where your mouse is pointed, and then the circle is where you're actually going to end up shooting, for instance. So you kind of have to be careful of the where you're actually aiming as opposed to where your mouse is just aiming. I like that because the game seems to try to fit as much realism in it. I know it's over the top. I know you're fighting giant bugs on all these different planets, etc. But it does try to fit in at least some sense of realism into it that way. Now, you can dive. You also have these different like orbital strikes. I'm going to throw an orbital strike there. You have to be careful. You can kill yourself with these orbital strikes, as well as you can kill your teammates with them. So if he doesn't see that giant beam, that would absolutely destroy him. And one of our characters is actually dead now, or one of our teammates. So what we can do is call him reinforcements, which basically is the respawn for him. This allows him to respawn and drop in on another pod. Then we have to see what our mission is, which is collect the encrypted hard drive. If I hold tab here, it's going to open up my screen, and I can sort of aim around to see where we need to go. See, destroy the rogue research center or collect the hard drive. We drop directly on the mission. So we need, it looks like he's actually doing that now, and he has a terminal up there. He's got to play like a little mini game in order to get the hard drive out. We basically have to defend him. There are some of these that require multiple people. Like, for instance, there will be one where a guy has to see on the screen where we need to set up, oh my God, where we need to set up like a radar dish, and then the other player has to go actually move the radar dish, and you have to communicate with each other to let you know where exactly it's lined up, etc. The game is definitely designed around co-op. This guy just called in the machine gun. I've got the machine gun, for instance, so now I'll call in one for him because I definitely took his machine gun. I'm sure he's mad about that. So there you go, buddy. I got one for you. And then you can call in your different weapons that are part of your loadouts. And then from there, like, look at this. Look at this machine gun I called in, right? Or he called in, I should say. Listen to my guy if I just hold it down. He just screams like crazy while you're holding it. But because it's a giant machine gun, when you reload, you actually have to like kneel down and reload, so people are going to need to defend you while you're doing that. For instance, you can also dive and then shoot backwards and all that while you're laying down, etc. So the way they do it makes you feel like you are in Starship Troopers. It's over the top. It's a little bit of like meme-worthy joking around, but it also feels really, really like just the word enjoyable to play. It's a good break from the norm, in my opinion, for these types of shooters. Okay, so I have my orbital strike that I've unlocked recently here, the napalm strike here. Oh, that guy just did one as well. And I died while I had the strike out, which made me drop the heat for the strike, which means we immediately got nuked right on top of it because I dropped the beacon. So stuff like that can happen, but then they called in reinforcements, and now I can try to move away from the beam because beams normally mean that things are going to fall on it. Yep, we lost another guy. I have to call him that. We can also call him resupplies, which is ammo. One cool thing about the ammo, speaking of realism, is if I reload my clip, when I'm like halfway through shooting the clip, the rest of the ammo in that clip gets thrown away when I throw away the clip. So you want to make sure that you're using all of your ammo and thinking about using your ammo properly, because running out of ammo is something that happens quite often and you have to sort of balance around. Now, we need our guy to be able to respawn, so I have to call in the reinforcements. The game is definitely balanced around, the game is definitely balanced around multiplayer, and I heard it gets harder and harder and harder, and that the mobs get bigger and there's bosses, etc. I have not got to go that far yet. You can heal teammates with stim packs, so I can stem somebody else with my healing kit if I want. This is the first time I've ever actually done that. Okay, so now we have the hard drive, and we have to take the hard drive to the upload waypoint, which is all sort of what we're doing here. You can see it on your map. That's the rogue station. Where exactly is the upload point? Upload via the local array there. Transport to the communications array. Where is the communications array? That's the extraction point. I think the communications array, that's the rogue center. I think it's this way, isn't it, boys? All right, surely we're not all going the wrong way. All right, maybe they know better than I do of which way we're supposed to be going here. Okay, so now we're at the communications array, and there's this sort of, oh, this is the artillery ammo rack. Yeah, so you actually find these around here. This is an artillery cannon. And what you can do is you can load this artillery with different shells if we find shells laying around here. Oh, and there's also different like samples you can find around there, which you can use to upgrade your ship, etc. There are collectibles. There's also a battle pass in the game that can unlock weapons. However, You can get premium currency just by walking around and discovering the literal paid premium currency in the game itself. You don't have to pay for it. You can find it by going to places of interest and slowly farming it too, which is a cool mechanic I just realized. I thought it was like pay to win, which technically you can buy the battle pass, which will be faster, I guess, than farming it. But you can actually acquire the paid premium currency in the game just by playing the game, which I think is a good point as well. So here's an artillery shell. What I can do is I can take this artillery shell, I can load it into here, and then when we have all 5 of the artilleries loaded, this is going to be one of those things that we can call in and aim where we want. In fact, the different color of the shell, see how that one's red, this one's yellow, this one's like a gas one, I think that one's like a concussion one. The different types of shells that you load in there and the order in which you load them is how it is called out. So you need to sort of memorize exactly which ones you put. Now there's these bug breaches you see that just a bug breach just showed up. So what that means is from the ground there's like a hole that popped up that the bugs are coming out of. Now if I go to that hole and I throw a grenade down in that hole, it's going to close that breach. It's going to blow it up basically. Just like it would in like Rico's Roughnecks, if you remember that old show at all. Okay, one of our guys died, so again I'm going to call in the reinforcements so that he can come back down. Call that in. Is there a bug behind me? What is he shooting? Oh no, he's just shooting that. Okay, so you see some big bugs are coming out from here. So what I can do is I could call in Orbital Strike, try to get that going there, or a Gas Orbital Strike, which is one of the upgrades I've got from playing the game and slowly unlocking more things in my ship. And let's see if that will deal with them. There, the Gas Strike is like damage over time, so that might do some damage on them. They have ranged guys. Still reloading my 6-shot revolver here. It looks like we got that guy. I'm standing in some gas. And then we're going to continue the mission from here. Okay, so now we have the artillery loaded. So if you see here, the artillery is fully loaded with all 5 shells. So what we can do is we can actually call in the artillery strike. See, that guy's calling in napalm strike, for instance. We can call in the artillery strike from what we just loaded. Now, I don't want to do this on top of my guys here, and we just completed the objective, so I'm going to throw it over there so that way you get to kind of see. But that's a mini nuke. Now it's going to shoot from the artillery that we just loaded, go up there, and the other cool parts you can see your ships, etc. there, and then the nuke, there it is. Pretty cool, right? Okay, here we got a group of guys. Can I... oh god, run for it. Okay, orbital strike ready. Use the orbital strike, stick it on him, and then go running for it. Go. And you can see it shoots from the ship itself, which I think is so cool. You actually get to see that. If we call in like airstrikes too, you actually get to see the planes come by and blow up as well. Like let's call in an airstrike here. I'll give you an example of this, right? So if we throw in an airstrike and put it over there, check this out. Here comes the Eagle airstrike. There he comes. It's just super cool. And he goes back up to the ship, etc. And you can actually reload those. Okay, this is an example of samples. You pick this up and everyone on your team gets it, and the samples you can use to upgrade your ship over time. Okay, here we have like a bug outpost. You'll find these spots as well. You don't have to fight them if you don't want to, but it is something that you can actually end up doing. I'm calling in a smoke artillery shell, which is what those yellow ones were. And that will drop us smoke, which if it was, we were fighting the automatons, because you can find sentinels, etc., which are like these... they're kind of like Soviet robots. They're like Terminators is really what they are. And you can use that to help keep the line of fire from them not being able to see you. For instance, I'm straight up getting destroyed by these bugs. And I'm out of medical supplies, so I have to call in a resupply here. And then look out for the bugs while I'm doing it. And also, different planets have different atmospheres. So this is sort of like an obvious red planet type of situation. This is one of those bug nests that we threw a grenade down, which blew it up, basically. But, you know, you're going to have clearer vision if you're not on, like, a red dust style of planet, which obviously that's what this one is. So if you're wondering, does everything look like this and you can't see? It's like, no, that's sort of what this is. And my teammates are doing sort of like the full completed objectives. They're wanting to do everything kind of around here. Maybe they're farming or something. So, because there is, you know, materials that you can get. So I'm going to throw more of these orbital strikes, etc. in there to try to empty out this whole area, because I have a bunch of orbital strikes. And now that orbital strike took out that bug nest. So you kind of get the idea of it. Like, it's simple gameplay, but this is on medium difficulty, 3 out of 9 difficulties, and the bosses get harder, the missions get harder. You unlock more weapons, you unlock more airstrikes, you have the turrets you could unlock. Like, this is fairly early into the game, but it only took me about 20 minutes of getting into the game before I immediately started having a ton of fun. The tutorial is fairly quick and simple and just explains the basics about how not to die, and then they pretty much jump you right into doing it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish up this mission here, and then I want to show you the Terminator, like, robot side of things. So this was sort of the bug side of things. Now, if you go over to the red side, this is like you're fighting Terminators or whatever you want to call it. There's defense campaigns, etc. that go on here. You can go here. I could join with a squad of people, retrieve personnel, or we could just do defend the planet, repel the invasion fleet attacking the planet, and then we can pick, do I want to retrieve? Do we want to launch the IBMs, for instance? Do we want to join somebody else's, or maybe I don't want to do that mission at all? How about this one? Retrieve the personnel escort and protect researchers as they travel to the evacuation zone. Sure. So we'll go ahead and launch on that one. I'm just going to do this one solo for myself. And we're going to warp over, because we're warping from one planet to another here. We're going to warp over to the mission that we are trying to start now. Now I'm going to prepare my setup again and pick all of the equipment I want. Hop in the Hell Pod. Pick where I want to drop, where it's going to drop right on the spot because I don't want to walk. I'm lazy. I'm going to take my orbital strikes and my machine gun setup, and we're going to go ahead and drop straight in. And you're very quickly going to realize what I was saying about the terrain. Like, there is totally different terrain. You can see my ship is called the Emperor of the People. You got to name your own ship, etc., depending upon what titles and stuff that you want to use. And then here we go. We're going to land in and fight the Terminators. Okay, so I dropped right in here, and this is the area where there's going to be the scientists that we need to save. So if I look on the map, we see where exactly are they. They're over here as the scientist team. A bot drop has been detected. So let me just go show you the bots instead of doing the mission. I just wanted to show you the other style of things. So you have the bugs you fight, which is very obviously Starship Trooper. And now you have, look at this. This is much more automaton, Terminator. You can see they're dropping off robots, etc. There's even bigger like AT-ST style of things. And this can be a little bit more difficult than just fighting bugs, for instance. Obviously, they have guns. Okay, these are the smaller guys. Maybe a grenade or something. We gotta be kind of careful. Okay, and you see I'm dead already, so it is not exactly super easy. Now you might be wondering, if I'm playing by myself, how's the respawn go? You just respawn right in. If you're playing by yourself, you have a limited number of respawns. I have 4 reinforcements left to use, basically. So that's how that works. And now what I would need to do is I would need to go find... Okay, so they're over there, and the enemy is trying to kill the scientists, and my job is to defend the scientists, basically. There's like an AT-ST like looking guy, and that's kind of the same thing there. Orbital strike incoming. Hopefully that will damage it, because I'm not sure how... Okay, I missed it. Yeah, I'm not really sure how to deal with this thing. Maybe I got to get behind him or something. Run past him, maybe, and... Yeah, there we go. Shoot the guy behind him. That's how we do it. Okay, oh, another one of these guys. More of a mech warrior looking dude. All right, and I get eliminated already. I mean... It's not easy. Like I'm saying, the game's not easy, but you get sort of the idea of what's going on here. The part when I realized I really was going to start enjoying this game is this part over here, which is where you are continually upgrading your gear. You can upgrade all kinds of different things about your ships. I mean, you can make your ship look cooler if you really want to. Increase the steering for Helldiver steering, the drop pod. So it's not just cosmetics. It upgrades what it looks like, but also it does something like the Ego Stratagem, which is the ones that are the planes that come by that I showed you. You can upgrade this, which actually upgrades either the number of them that you get, reduces the rearm time. You can upgrade your support weapons. You can upgrade, look at all these things. Flamethrowers, autocannons, railguns, the spear. That's just the weapons for yourself. I can upgrade the actual guns on the ship that shoot down, so we can have bigger and bigger guns or different types of things. I like the laser here is basically like an ion cannon from the GDI, for instance. You can do rail cannon strikes. Look at that. Isn't that cool? Like a railgun. You have all these different types of bomb styles that come from the airplanes. You have your jump pack as well. Smoke screens. This is, so you can get, there's even bigger dudes. I haven't even seen one of those guys yet. All kinds of orbital strikes here. Look at that. You can drop down a machine gun that you can set up and then use. You can drop down sort of a shield like it is from the Phantom Menace from Star Wars. You have a Tesla tower. I mean, dude, you got these minefields. My buddy used the minefield and deployed mines, and we very quickly realized if you step on mine yourself, you blow up. So you got to be careful with the minefields even. Guard dog rover that goes with you, a shield, arcs, shield generator. Like, look at all these things. You got robots that fly with you, auto cannons, rocket cannons, mortars. The game is cool, okay? This isn't a game in which it is a new MMORPG that is going to be the next 5 years of your life, but it will be the next 20 to 30 to 40 hours of compacted, highly enjoyable gameplay. It is the perfect game after you come home from work to grab a couple beers and play with two of your best buds. And then you're just laughing and not taking it too serious, while the game itself does actually have a pretty good amount of content to blast through. If you're considering the game, I believe it's $40. In my opinion, it's worth every penny. Absolutely fantastic, short-term enjoyment, but packed with lots of hilarious, laughing type of moments. Play with a couple buddies if you have them, and you will get your money's worth easily.